The global corruption. Par- The Global Corruption Barometer ranks Cameroon fourth most corrupt country in Africa, according to its latest release. Meanwhile, we understand that the Cameroon Patriotic Diaspora met in Munich recently also. That was precisely on July the 26th to the 28th out there in Germany to discuss about the political crisis in Cameroon, where they, at the end of the session, they requested for a transitional government to be put in place to engage in a reconciliatory move to reconcile Cameroonians across the nation. Good evening and welcome to Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are going to be discussing on these two topics where we analyze the session that took place out there in Munich in Germany, where some high-profile political activists and politicians met alongside Cameroonian-based diasporans with friendly countries that were also in attendance, discussing on the burning issues touching on Cameroon. Meanwhile, we are equally going to be perusing this release that describes Cameroon as one of the most corrupt countries in Africa. We find out why Cameroon has refused to leave as an exemplary nation to the world as far as corruption is concerned. We are going to be discussing on these two topics with our panelists who are already in the house. Though one is caught in traffic and rains, he's going to be joining us in the course of the program. We are in the company of Salmon Bias. He is a jurist and a politician. Bonsoir et bienvenue.
Bonsoir Léo, bonsoir très chers copanélistes. Bonsoir à nos nombreux téléspectateurs du Cameroun et d'ailleurs. C'est un honneur pour moi d'être une fois de plus sur ce plateau. C'était pas facile, nous savons tous que la météo ne pardonne pas ces jours, mais on fait tout quand il s'agit de servir notre pays, de par notre façon de contribuer, de laisser de côté nos intérêts personnels pour essayer d'apporter notre contribution à ce que le pays puisse s'éveiller et s'émerveiller, parce que je pense que c'est la prospérité qui est la chose à mieux partager en ce moment chez nous, et c'est à quoi nous devons aspirer.
Also in our company this evening is Walang Abang. He is the director of the Mahatma Institute of Leadership. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Bean, and thanks to the technicians for doing everything for this program to go live and the enormous work they're doing. And thanks to the millions of televiewers out there, you know, who are glued to their TV to watch My Media Prime, especially Prime Hour. It's an honor for me to be here always. I hope I'm going to live up to the expectations of the viewers out there.
Fabrice Lena is the communication secretary of the Popular Action Party, PAP, all the way from Yaoundé. He is in the house with us. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leonard. I'm very much grateful, and I am happy to be with you on the program Prime Hour, and I wish to educate Cameroonians about issues affecting our country, especially those that concern citizenship education for our country to move ahead, because a lot is going wrong in Cameroon today, and the youth need to rise up and to live up to expectation in order to move our country ahead.
Okay, we are starting our discussions on this meeting that took place, this forum that took place in Munich in Germany, where patriotic, they call them Cameroon Patriotic Diaspora, met in Germany. Now, Salmon Bias, je commence avec vous. How urgent was it for this third forum? Because we must understand that this is the third time they are meeting. And the theme of that meeting says the urgency of a national dialogue and a political transition for peace and reconciliation in Cameroon. How timely is this theme?
Merci une fois de plus, Léo, de me passer la parole. Parce qu'en réalité, parler du Cameroun en ce moment, c'est parler de tous les tabloïds qui s'ouvrent dans le sens, n'est-ce pas, d'améliorer les conditions dans lesquelles le Cameroun se trouve aujourd'hui. Conditions combien de fois désastreuses au regard, n'est-ce pas, des contradictions qui s'offrent aujourd'hui au Cameroun à pouvoir améliorer sa position à l'échelle du monde et à l'échelle du Cameroun tout entier. Oui, Léo, vous m'interpellez sur la nécessité du forum qui s'est tenu du 26 au 28, n'est-ce pas, à Berlin, c'est en Allemagne, avec un certain nombre d'acteurs. Oui, quel était l'agenda de ce forum? Quelles sont les implications et quelles sont, en quelque sorte, les résolutions qui sont sorties de là et ou encore l'opportunité qui supplantait, n'est-ce pas, la tenue d'un tel forum.
Oui, quelle est l'urgence de ce forum?
Effectivement, je suis en train d'arriver. L'urgence de ce forum est, n'est-ce pas, le fait que depuis 3 ans aujourd'hui, nous constatons bien que le Cameroun est sous l'emprise d'un front armé, n'est-ce pas, au nord-ouest et au sud-ouest, front qui a impacté plusieurs secteurs, n'est-ce pas, du fonctionnement de la vie de notre nation, commençant de l'exécutif avec tous ses démembrements, en passant par, n'est-ce pas, l'économie, le sport et bien sûr l'éducation qui est la mère, n'est-ce pas, de la nation, parce que c'est par l'éducation que nous arrivons à former ceux-là qui vont contribuer, n'est-ce pas, à accompagner notre pays. Combien de fois cette urgence est pressante, parce que les Camerounais constatent effectivement qu'au-delà de toutes les propositions que nous avons faites, ceux d'ici et ceux d'ailleurs, sur la résolution de la crise, nous avons un gouvernement qui est sourd, aveugle et même autiste aux pleurs des enfants du Cameroun. C'est pour ça que certains acteurs ont constaté qu'il était nécessaire et même impératif de prendre à bras le corps la situation du Cameroun et de se retrouver, n'est-ce pas, à Berlin, comme je le disais tantôt, pour essayer de débattre et apporter des propositions sur une possible sortie de crise. Ce forum s'est bien sûr tenu à l'extérieur parce que nous savons bien que dans notre pays, nous n'avons pas, n'est-ce pas, un environnement très assaini en termes de discussion qui porte sur un certain nombre de sujets. Parce que, rappelons-nous, nous avons bien des partis politiques tels le SDF, le MRC et d'autres types de formations qui, à tout moment où ils veulent s'asseoir pour apporter une réflexion profonde, n'est-ce pas, subissent les affres de ce qu'on appelle le complot contre l'État, l'insurrection, la rébellion, et je ne peux que citer ceux-là qui sont des infractions que nous, les jeunes, nous découvrons aujourd'hui et liées, n'est-ce pas, à ce que je pourrais appeler la marche vers la démocratie. Et je voudrais, si vous me le permettez, d'apporter de façon claire le thème qui supplantait, n'est-ce pas, ces assises. Selon le Cameroun Patriotique Diaspora, il y avait l'urgence d'un dialogue national et d'une transition politique pour la paix et la réconciliation au Cameroun. Si je voudrais poursuivre mon propos, il serait loisible, n'est-ce pas, de détailler les acteurs qui ont pris corps à ce forum pour que les uns et les autres puissent comprendre. Nous avons, entre autres, Maître Alice Combes, qui est avocate internationale et membre du Front citoyen. Nous avons, entre autres, Madame Edith Kawala, qui est, entre autres, cette femme que tout le monde connaît, président du CPP, Cameroun People's Party, et président de Stand Up for Cameroun, qui est une plateforme d'échange et de concertation qui promeut en réalité la citoyenneté objective et les principes démocratiques. Nous l'avons vu sur le terrain camerounais depuis plusieurs années et son travail est aujourd'hui aux antipodes de toute contestation. Nous avons entre autres Maître Emmanuel Sim, qui est avocat des droits de l'homme et acteur politique. Il a précisé dans une missive adressée aux Camerounais qui étaient présents sur les réseaux sociaux parce qu'il y avait un imbroglio où les gens se posaient bien la question de savoir qu'est-ce qu'il va faire à ce forum. Il a tenu à préciser, en tant qu'avocat des droits de l'homme, il était invité, n'est-ce pas, sur cette casquette-là, pas dans la casquette du MRC, parce que nous savons bel et bien que le MRC est ce parti-là qui, dès qu'il mène une action, il est associé à ceux-là qui veulent déstabiliser le Cameroun. Donc toute action menée par ce parti, même s'il vise un éthique, un changement, même s'il vise d'aller dans le bon sens, est toujours étiqueté comme celui-là qui veut déstabiliser. Donc il y avait matière à apporter des précisions là-dessus et je pense que ces précisions étaient de bonne augure. Nous avons entre autres le docteur Davis Ndjemangum, qui est président du Southern Cameroon Community in Munich, Monsieur Jean-Claude Nkubito, qui est secrétaire exécutif de l'ONG belge et l'Initiative pour le dialogue et la paix, qui a assisté en tant qu'observateur. Et nous avons, n'est-ce pas, au final, Albert Moutoudou, qui est président de l'UPC Manidem, et qui a contribué, n'est-ce pas, à apporter ces éclaircies là-dessus en tant que
on va revenir dans tous ces personnages-là. Mr. Fabrice, Lena, I'm sure you followed up what happened in Munich, because the PAP has something to do with that forum?
Yeah, exactly. The Popular Action Party is one of the parties that signed the Stand Up for Cameroon movement. Yeah, in 2018.
Yeah, but
because
let me cue you to the question I have for you. It's that at the end of the sitting in Berlin, they called for the departure of what they described as the CNU-CPDM regime from power, and its departure described to many as the key need or focus for you people, because you should be part of that. Now, do we still need, at this age, be talking about departure from power when you know that to get democratically, to get somebody out of power, you must pass through elections?
Well, not every president must be get out of power through elections, especially for our case. Because the case of Cameroon is a very difficult context, and Stand Up for Cameroon, together with Cameroon Patriotic Diaspora, thinks that the best way for Cameroonians to have an inclusive dialogue, to have a country where everybody could be included in whatever process of dialogue, there must be, first of all, the departure of the Mbia regime. And this departure could be petitioned by Cameroonians and the international pressure for Mr. Mbia to resign, because he has failed to deliver public goods. He has failed to bring Cameroonians up to expectation. So the Munich resolution is very good, and the Popular Action Party is in support as a party that is part of the Stand Up for Cameroon movement, because I think the message is very objective. The message of political transition is very objective. It is a national message. It's a message that is not for any party interest, but for the interest of all Cameroonians. Political transition is a national message, and I think we as Cameroonians need to rally behind that.
Yeah, but political transition should pass through the ballot box. Is it decreed? Do we just sit and decree that we want a political transition and let it be? Like God decreed that let there be light.
At a particular moment, political actors need to devise strategies, ways to save their people. This is a means by which Stand Up for Cameroon movement, together with CPP, Popular Action Party, thinks that...
What's the strategy? Sitting and declaring that there should be transition?
Not sitting and declaring. Taking action.
What is the strategy?
Taking action for it. Taking action to put in place a transitional government by, first of all, making departure of the Mbia regime. And this departure could be in several ways.
Okay. Walang Abang, they say there's urgency of a national dialogue and a political transition for peace and reconciliation in Cameroon. At this age and time, should we be making slogans that there is need for a transition, there's need for national dialogue, there is need for reconciliation? Should we not get into action? Should we not be doing what we are saying? Because this has been said for over 10 years. We get the same message.
Well, I think that we're talking about a regime that is putting in place every strategy, and in quote, negative strategy, you know, to maintain themselves in power. You know, but to talk about action, let me compliment on what Lena, you know, let me add to what Lena is saying, that from the communique that came out of the Munich Forum, Maitre Alice Com has been appointed as the ambassador, you know, the interior ambassador of that Cameroon, the diaspora, this thing. You know, she has been appointed as the ambassador to coordinate activities, because, you know, action doesn't mean people going into the street. Although in one of the meetings of REDAC, you know, Maitre Alice Com and the coordinator of REDAC, they called on Cameroonians to go to the street and make sure that the President of the Republic and his cohorts are sent out of power by force. But she has been appointed, you know, to come and coordinate activities, which is very essential, because there is one part of any revolution that is called communication. You should be able to communicate clearly what you want. And I think that they have educated Cameroonians and the international community.
I did not see anywhere where a revolution was called or people are called to the streets.
No, there was a meeting about 2 months ago, the REDAC and other civil society organizations that took place, and it was on television, not national television.
Okay, they ordered people to take to the streets.
They voiced an opinion that the only way to get the president out of power was for people to get to the street. I watched it. I'm not the one saying it. That's something that I watched. The president of, the coordinator of REDAC and Maitre Alice Com, with other civil society stakeholders, they made that declaration. I saw the other guy, Patrice Nanga, in that meeting. So that's what they said. But now they are trying to coordinate a forum where people can come together. I remember that in one of these Munich forums, Dr. Fomonyo Christopher attended. You know, they have invited many people, friends of Cameroon who are not Cameroonians, to sit together. And let's talk about urgency. The urgency of this meeting is so critical because Cameroon is moving fast into a doom. Cameroon is moving fast into a disaster. If you look at every aspect of the Cameroonian life, today you will discover that nothing is going on well. We just witnessed the case of the prison and justice system, the prisons of Cameroon, to cry that a lot of rethinking of the Cameroonian system has to be done. And as an analyst, I say that the system in place has outlived itself. Some other new system, you know, made up of younger people or people with fresh emotional and emotional intelligence should come to play and then start taking Cameroon forward. Cameroon was not given to the CPDM or CNU/CPDM regime as a curse. You know that you will carry this country on your back until even when you cannot walk, you keep on carrying it. They have done their time and they have done the little that they could do. Let other people come into the scene and start playing so that we judge whether they did something, they did something worth appreciating, or the people who have come and taken over are doing better. I think that's the only way out. And it gives a serious relevance to this Munich forum, because in it, they're talking about the Anglophone crisis that has been poorly managed by the government. We are not celebrating the acts of killing, and whatever, but the government, it behoves on the government to solve the crisis. And if they have not solved it in 3 years, they should stop making excuses, because we hear the government blaming X and Y, on the failure of or on the intensification of this crisis, which is very wrong. Mitt Romney, one of the candidates to the presidential elections in America, said, leadership is about assuming responsibility and not making excuses, something that we find a lot with the Cameroonian government now. So I think that it is relevant. It is imperative that a strategy, that this issue of transition be highlighted clearly with a clear strategy, so that in the near future, for Cameroon not to fall into a disastrous abyss, that transition should take place. I think Cameroonians should give that their support.
They should give that their support. I'll stay with you. They pledge their support for the 2 letter conference. When we understand that the Munich Forum had to do with the likes of Metro Sim and people like Alice Com, talking about Francophones, who were part of it, and then they say they are pledging their support for the AGC, which is the All Anglophone Conference. Are they also insinuating that there is need for a rethink of the conference that is trying to bring in Francophone so that it gets a national color?
Well, Francophones giving their support for the All Anglophone Conference doesn't necessarily mean it should be a national conference.
Okay.
It is, I think it is a good will of the Francophones who see the necessity for the people of Anglophone, the English-speaking people, to come together as a people and think as a people, to come out with a common agenda to face the common enemy. Because I think the English-speaking people are having a lot of divergent views as to political ideologies. Because we have people of the diaspora who are essentially separatists. We have people within the country who are federalists. We have some others who are for the unitary state. And so there is urgent need for these people to sit under the canopy of a conference. And I think the initiative of Cardinal Tumi is the best, the All Anglophone Conference, for them to come together and harmonize these ideas, ideologies, in order to have a common say as to, even if it comes to the national dialogue, because we will not go to the national dialogue as Anglophones with different opinions, different views, and at the table will not come out with any concrete resolutions. And at this moment in time, if the resolutions of any dialogue comes out without including all Cameroonians and everybody is not represented, it will still cause problem in the future. So I think that the Munich conference resolution came out with some tangible points that political leaders in Cameroon and without and beyond need to communicate on these points so that we all support and look for means to make the Anglophone conference to hold, to make the political transition to take place,
okay, but the political
to enable Cameroon to change the system.
Political transition cannot be decreed. We have just been joined by Mbako Jude. You had something to add?
Yes, I want to say, just quickly for about 10 seconds that, the Anglophone crisis, given what the Munich Forum says, it wants to treat the Anglophone crisis as an individual crisis, not as an integral part of the Cameroonian national
okay.
dialogue.
Okay. Mbako Jude, you followed what happened transpire out there in Munich, Germany, where we saw some high-profile political and civil society leaders brainstorming on the need for a political transition in Cameroon and for a national dialogue, a large national dialogue to be convened. Should we still be talking? Should we still be at that level of still talking about the need for and not swinging into action?
First of all, thank you, Leonard. Let me extend regards to the amazing panelists who are doing so good, Solomon, Bang, and Len, I'm sure. Well, to the beautiful viewers, I extend regards as well. Please, one of the things I always avoid talking about is this issue of transition in Cameroon. Cameroon cannot have such a transition willingly at this point. You understand? The system in Cameroon is that which they cannot permit. They cannot permit for political transition. So the regime is so tough. If this country were to experience such transition, it cannot be now. The regime is so tough that even the talks that are those are town hall meetings, according to when the president sits in Yaoundé to the palace and watch, he just smile, because those are not the kind of things that can really move President Paul Biya at this point. The kind of transition that Cameroon needs, it's actually not going to come from within Cameroon. When I'm saying that within Cameroon, I'm talking about within people of the civil society. They cannot. They don't have the effort. President Biya is so strong for 37 years or so that he has been there. He has created a war, the kind of war that guards President Paul Biya.
The wall of Jericho?
It's more than that of Jericho as of now. So what is going to happen is we can just allow things happen naturally if When I say naturally, I mean that occurrences, we cannot force the transition again in Cameroon because it is inconsequential. It is inconsequential to change this regime at this point. Let's just allow things go the way they happen naturally.
Okay, you've given up. I hope you've registered to vote.
Voting too is not a solution in Cameroon. It's just a political process which people follow for the sake of the redundancy. People just do things because they want to do. But if we were to go again by vote, Cameroon cannot change again by the ballot box. Those who play the piper are there and they know what they are doing. And that is why I keep, every other point in time, I keep saying that the West, they are not helping us in any way because they are the ones protecting dictators in Africa, most of them, for their interest. And Cameroon's case is not any different. We have this regime that is so protected by the West for its particular reason. So we cannot from inside change it. There's a systematic placement which Cameroonians themselves cannot change. So that's why I said we should leave it for nature.
Oh.
When nature takes its course,
Okay.
God will take control.
I guess people should start fasting and praying.
Definitely they should.
Salomon Bias, the forum that took place in Munich said there was need to discuss the Anglophone crisis and to get ways out. But we have not really seen the political force east of the Mongo. I'm talking about the political force in the Francophone side actually meeting to discuss the need for the Anglophone problem to be discussed or solved. Why discuss it in Munich when in Garoua we have not seen the political class coming together to discuss it? In the Central region, we've not seen the civil society organizations. We've really not seen a force this way that is asking for this issue to be discussed, except the SDF that we saw trying to force its way at the National Assembly.
Avant d'apporter des éclaircissements sur votre question, je ne pourrais pas laisser, n'est-ce pas, ce qu'il a dit tout à l'heure, qui me semble un peu ambigu, parce que dans toutes les théories de droit constitutionnel qu'on apprend à l'université ou alors de sciences politiques, il est clairement dit que le contrat social qui crée la République est une émanation de la pensée des hommes. Au-delà du fait que la République ait existé à un certain moment donné. Donc ce sont les gens à l'état de nature, comme tu le décris, qui créent la République. Et ce sont ces mêmes personnes à l'état de nature qui mettent fin à la République. Donc il n'y a pas un avènement de la République de façon spontanée ou alors des personnes qui vont décider que si ils restent cloîtrés dans leurs idées et que leurs idées ne sont plus suivies, alors ils vont maintenir cette République dont ils ont les seuls instruments, que ce sont les seuls qui maîtrisent les tenants et les aboutissants. Non. En réalité, si je veux vous donner raison, c'est que la loi naturelle voudrait que, comme le pouvoir appartient au peuple, c'est le peuple qui décide à qui appartiendra le pouvoir et qui pourra être capable de discuter au nom du peuple. Quand j'ai fini de dire ça, je continue en disant effectivement que nous sommes dans une situation où il y a un ensemble de forces qui entrent en compétition. Il y a eu des Camerounais frustrés avant, liés au fonctionnement de ce pays, qui se sont retrouvés en outre-mer. Ça a donné naissance à ce qu'on appelait à un certain moment donné les groupes de pression internationaux qui ont conduit à ce qu'on appelle la brigade anti-Sadina. C'est une réalité. Ce sont des Camerounais frustrés qui demandent de façon claire que le Cameroun puisse évoluer et ont pris position. Ce n'est pas un secret de polichinelle parce que vous vous rappelez de ce qui s'est passé, n'est-ce pas, avec le séjour du chef de l'État. Je voudrais avancer pour dire, ce n'est pas, quand il faut parler du MRC, on est très aisé de parler, mais ça c'est la réalité camerounaise, on ne doit pas l'ignorer. Et de deux, nous avons des partis comme le SDF et le MRC et d'autres mouvements qui ont pris le ton et ont dit de façon claire. Nous avons des sénateurs qui ont pris de façon claire la position selon laquelle cette crise doit être soldée. Aujourd'hui, nous avons un forum de d'autres types d'organisateurs qui ont décidé de prendre position et de faire une résolution. En ce moment donné, il n'y a pas qu'un seul groupe qui a le monopole de dicter comment les choses doivent se passer. Parce que s'il y a, n'est-ce pas, urgence de parler d'un dialogue inclusif, c'est qu'on donne la possibilité, n'est-ce pas, à tous les groupes de réflexion de se pencher sur la situation afin que chacun fasse une ébauche de la situation et qu'il propose une solution. Et je pense que ce n'est pas un déni que de dire que le forum qui s'est tenu à Munich n'est qu'une partie des choses qui continuent de commencer, ou bien qui vont commencer, ou bien qui vont se tenir. Vous rendrez bien compte que dans une chaîne de télévision que je ne vais pas nommer ici, pour des besoins de commodité, le professeur Jean Bébec a apporté de façon claire une résolution qui était prise, n'est-ce pas, par un ensemble d'acteurs de son parti UPC et qui allait dans le même sens que ce forum qui s'est tenu à Munich du 26 au 28 dans le sens de la résolution de la crise. C'était juste pour te dire effectivement et pour dire aux autres copanélistes et aux téléspectateurs qui nous écoutent qu'il n'y a pas de ségrégation à faire dans la résolution de ce qui se passe aujourd'hui.
Mais est-ce que vous êtes en train de répondre à ma question?
Mais bien sûr que tous les Camerounais, tous les partis politiques sont solidaires, chacun dans sa manière de faire et chacun dans sa manière de penser.
Ma question est que, au-delà des discours, prendre position, on a vu les leaders des partis politiques et les sociétés civiles s'y réunir à Munich, en Allemagne, parler de ceci, discours. On veut qu'il y ait résolution de la crise anglophone. Pourquoi est-ce qu'on ne voit pas les sociétés civiles à Garoua, à Maroua, à Yaoundé, se réunir pour dire la même chose?
Si vous avez suivi mon propos liminaire, oui. C'est pas qu'on ne voit pas à Douala, à Maroua, à Yaoundé. Si vous avez suivi mon propos liminaire, si vous avez suivi mon propos liminaire, j'ai dit d'entendre de propos ici, et vous n'allez pas me le démentir, que toute initiative qui vise à porter des contradictions au régime en place est traînée dans la boue comme étant des insurrectionnels, comme étant des rebelles, comme étant des contradicteurs, comme étant ceux-là qui veulent vendre le Cameroun aux Blancs. Quand j'ai fini de dire ça, vous comprendrez donc pourquoi il est mieux de se tenir à l'extérieur. Mais je vais revenir quelque temps en arrière pour qu'on puisse comprendre. Vous savez bien, aujourd'hui dans notre pays, qu'il y a eu un stand-up for Cameroun en cohésion avec le CPP, plusieurs forums qui se sont tenus au Cameroun. Il y a eu des conférences de presse, il y a même eu des manifestations publiques qui ont été tenues ici.
Mais vous citez Kawala. Moi, je est-ce qu'il n'y a pas
cette
synergie?
C'est chacun. Écoutez, il y aura, je suis en train de vous dire, il y aura une synergie. La stratégie, ce n'est pas quelqu'un qui va la dicter. Nous sommes actuellement à une position de proposition. Et chaque foyer d'acteurs est en train de se préparer pour un dialogue inclusif. Et tenez-vous tranquille, il y aura cette synergie dont tout le monde attend. Parce que toutes ces forces-là vont coaliser pour essayer de porter ça.
To tell our televiewers who are watching that voting ends today. If you are watching us, wherever you are watching us, today is the last day you can vote for the best mayor in Cameroon. I think we have the scores of those who have been voting so far. If we have them, those are the scores. We have very high scores there for the mayor of Buya, the mayor of Kumbu. Very, very high scores for the mayor of Kumba 3 and Kumba 1. And equally very high scores there for the mayor of Muyuka, and that of Tiko, and that of Limbe 1, I'm sure. So if today we are giving the last opportunity for those who think that they can change the trends. We even have votes for those who are not sitting mayors or government delegates like Kelvin Nokombele of Kumba, who has votes. I'm sure he has more than 40 votes. We have the likes of the senator, the former mayor of Boya, Belamuki Charles, who has votes. We even have votes for late mayors, people who say that they are best mayors, according to them. It's so and so late mayor. We have very high scores for the mayor of Fundong. And today is the last day for you to cast your vote on Friday. We are going to declare who, according to our viewers, is the best mayor in Cameroon, because we have many votes for even the mayor of Banjul, Photo Victor. Many people think that he is the best mayor. And the mayor of Yabasi, and other municipalities. We are going to continue our discussions with you later. The session actually discuss political transition towards a democratic state. Consider that there is evidence of end of regime. When you look at the political atmosphere in Cameroon, we are planning for a transition. Transition means that you want to take over from the current dispensation. Are there better political offers from the opposition?
Yeah, there are. I would say that if you permit me, let me brief our viewers and my co-panelists about Stand Up for Cameroon. It is a movement that regroups political parties, civil society organizations, opinion holders, religious leaders to come together and act for change in Cameroon, which means it is beyond political party. And at this point in time, we think that the different ideologies of the different political parties could not move us ahead. I am of the Popular Action Party. I have my comrades of the CPP who we act together under the Stand Up for Cameroon forum or platform or movement, as you can call it, for change. And our objective is political transition. And now we think that as a movement, we can only achieve this if all progressive forces come together. Because my co-panelist was just talking about other political parties acting together. Stand Up for Cameroon is actually opening its hands to all other oppositions who are willing for us to act together for this political transition, for this dialogue we are talking about. We have the Popular Action Party, we have the Cameroon People's Party, which are already part of Stand Up for Cameroon. We have the Cameroon Patriotic Diaspora, which is a civil society organization. We have Droite au Droite, we have Front Citoyen, which are part of Stand Up for Cameroon. We have opinion leaders like Agbo Bala. We have Père Lardo. They are part of the Stand Up for Cameroon movement. So if these progressive forces could come together to act, there will be significant change. Something will be achieved. Harmonization of the divergent views will help us to achieve something. Preaching political transition message will not be factional, because some political parties preach messages that is of the interest of that party, and it cannot go national when it's the interest of the party. But if it is a national interest, we are going to achieve it, and there will be change.
Now, the Munich Confab actually observes that there is a net regression in political liberties in Cameroon. Well, I don't know whether you buy that, but they say political liberties, they need to constitute a common front of forces, different political and other forces that will seek change, uniting Cameroonians. Is it possible under the current dispensation? Because as he is making a plea that all political forces should rally behind the CPP or the Stand Up for Cameroon. Yeah. But we observe what happened during the presidential elections, where the trends were that people should unite under other political platforms. Is it possible?
Well, I think that if it has already started, nothing is impossible. It's a beautiful initiative, but, they have to, like he says, that the door is open for other political forces, political parties to come on board. And not only political parties, but other civil society organizations to come on board. I think that if that happens, if that were to happen, because you're asking about, other civil society organizations, like, say, Garoua or other towns are not seen, they are not on the scene calling for this political transition. I think that this is an opportunity, for people to show, or parties to show that they are working in the general interest of Cameroonians, and not in their own self-interest. I want to say that, I like talking to not tickle delicate ears. There is a lot of egoism in the political setup in Cameroon now. It is everybody who wants to stand in front, and people don't want to recognize the value of even the smaller parties or other parties which have created the democratic scene that we now enjoy in Cameroon. It is some kind of egoistic platform where people want to get this thing. Yeah, people want to get the forefront, but at all costs. I think that the Cameroonian political scene now warrants that people come together, and they should forget about, when they come together, they should forget about the umbrella of the party and wear one uniform, which is one that carries the interest of all Cameroonians. Permit me to say something here that is very, very technical, Mr. Bean. Asking about the urgency of this, I want to take us a little backward. Asking about the urgency of this forum, I will say yes. Why? The reason is very simple. Mr. Biya won the last presidential elections in October 2018, with 71 point something percent. Okay, that shows that he is very popular in his country. But within the space of less than a year, there have been lots of movements in the country as well as out of the country that put to question the popularity of the President of the Republic and the elections results that they purported to have won. So I think that, yes, it is really urgent for Cameroonians to come together and start brainstorming or continue brainstorming, open their hands, for other political actors, to join this forum and see how that transition can be brought about. The transition can be brought about if people meet and brainstorm, clearly defining objectives and how they can go about and achieve this.
Okay, it's time for the news. Let's move over to the newsroom to find out what stories have made headlines today.
The Meme administration has embarked on the sharing of food items in the various quarters in Kumba, southwest region of Cameroon. Food items, mainly rice and bathing soap, are shared to locals, irrespective of the fact that some are not displaced. The happy recipients, though not willing to show their faces in front of our cameras, have welcomed the idea of a communion with the military and the administration, who look friendly while sharing food items amongst the local population, who are all faced with the challenges of the armed conflict. Coordinated by the sub-divisional officers and supervised by the divisional office, the military has continuously gone to some of the quarters on daily basis and mostly on ghost towns to distribute and call on the population to encourage family members to prepare for back to school 2019-2020 academic year. To most city dwellers, the food items distributed will help them have at least a daily meal, but lament on the fact that the administration has failed to resolve the crisis for peace to reign in the country. Meanwhile, others who have refused to take the food items think that the items have nothing to do with finding a solution to the crisis, and they will not be ready to receive food items while many have left their communities due to humanitarian crisis perpetrated by the military and the armed separatists. As if that is not enough, the Meme administration has also called on the civilian population to preach peace and called for family members who are Ambazonia combatants to lay down their arms and embrace peace for schools to effectively resume in Meme division.
Il est désormais difficile de faire une dizaine de pas dans les rues des grandes métropoles camerounaises sans croiser un kiosque à jeux. Souvent confondus à des cabines de téléphonie mobile, les promoteurs de ces kiosques semblent s'être passé le mot du pari de la saturation. Une stratégie de proximité qui permet de traquer le moindre parieur au pied de son lit.
C'est les mauvaises initiatives, ça ne paye pas. C'est le travail qui paye, seul le travail paye. Il faut travailler en durée pour avoir de l'argent. Pour moi, je pense que c'est le manque de travail au Cameroun. Parce que s'il y avait le travail, les jeunes ne passeraient pas le temps à se lancer à cette initiative-là. C'est le chômage.
Hommes, femmes, enfants, tout le monde ici peut valider son ticket, au point où certains en ont fait un véritable métier qui ne connaît pas de saison.
Le hasard, chacun trouve son compte. Il y en a qui trouvent leur compte, d'autres ne trouvent pas leur compte. Si quelqu'un est habitué à jouer, c'est qu'il trouve son compte dedans. Ceux qui ne peuvent pas trouver, ouais, ça dépend d'eux. J'espère qu'un jour, je vais gagner. Un jour, je vais gagner. Et il continue à jouer. Parce qu'il espère qu'un jour, il pourra gagner. Quand même il dépense l'argent, il sait que l'argent appelle l'argent.
Si la démocratisation de ces entreprises de jeux de hasard et de paris apparaît comme une aubaine pour ceux qui en ont fait une sévère addiction, elle reste tout de même une curiosité dont la réponse se trouverait peut-être chez les autorités qui semblent avoir accepté cette course ouverte vers le cash. Les responsabilités sont partagées autant que la question sur l'adoption de plusieurs projets de loi élaborés à l'effet de corriger certaines insuffisances observées dans la loi de décembre 1989 fixant le régime des jeux au Cameroun, notamment l'absence d'un mécanisme de contrôle permanent et de régulation de ce secteur. Si en Côte d'Ivoire, au mois de juillet dernier, les promoteurs de ces entreprises de jeux savent désormais en quoi s'en tenir, au Cameroun, tout en reconnaissant que toutes ces entreprises ne sont pas logées dans la même enseigne, il y en a qui se comportent en toute responsabilité et d'autres qui ont choisi de miser sous les arbres, comme ici à Ndokoti. L'argent n'a pas d'odeur et tout chemin mène vers le cash.
Traumatizing images of violence against individuals surround the term human trafficking, as individuals are illegally transported from one country to another for either forced labor or hideous forms of sexual exploitation. The fight continues as this year's theme reads, responding to trafficking of children and young people.
Many of our citizens, especially the youths, are not employed, and the tendency is for them to look for greener pastures out of the country. And when they go there, it's not very easy. Many of them come back frustrated. And the crisis between in the northwest and southwest regions have not helped the situation.
Countries all over the world serve as either the origin, transit or destination for trafficking victims. And recent reports from the UNHCR suggest that women and children are most vulnerable to this practice. In 2011, Cameroon's anti-trafficking law criminalized all forms of labor trafficking and sex trafficking with penalties ranging from 5 to 20 years. However, given its prevalence, are these efforts enough?
There are laws in Cameroon against human trafficking, many of which are not really implemented. And if we could implement them, they would go a long way to protect our survivors and punish the perpetrators.
Victims of human trafficking often experience a lot of harsh physical treatment due to excessive work, as well as being exposed to serious health issues, mostly sexually transmissible diseases, as well as psychological trauma.
Survivors have very sad stories, truly. What we are doing is supporting them in our own little way, but hoping that the state should take its responsibility and maybe create jobs that can actually make them feel at home.
As the world commemorates the International Day for the fight against trafficking in persons, it is hoped that various governments do not relax their stringent fight to individually protect its citizens. It was a moment of undefined joy at the Trinity Orphanage at Bepanda Safari in the Douala 5 municipality after the visit of Association Lokide. Almost 20 members of the association visited the orphanage with basic food items and medications as part of their yearly activities to support the needy. Association Lokide is a non-profitable organization in Cameroon created in 2010 with the objective to give back to the society. It also works towards the well-being of those in need around the society.
Le message que je peux leur donner, c'est de tendre la main à ceux qui n'en ont pas, de tendre la main aux nécessiteux, de tendre la main autour de nous Parfois, le nécessiteux n'est pas toujours très loin. Parfois, dans nos quartiers, dans nos villages, dans nos familles, d'avoir la main sur le cœur, en fait.
The orphans and their guardians expressed appreciation for this solemn act of generosity, which they consider timely and very helpful. Man is not an island as such. Man lives from the support system of other individuals. In the absence of hate and in the presence of peace, let love lead.
You're watching Prime on my Media Prime, and we are discussing the Munich Forum that brought together a group of patriotic Cameroonians. They call themselves the Cameroon Patriotic Diaspora. They met and came up with a host of resolutions which we are discussing on this platform this evening. Baku, Jude, there is always this problem of pulling the political movements in Cameroon under a single agenda. We've seen it repeatedly on occasions of the holding of either municipal, parliamentary, presidential elections, even senatorial. Is it possible that at this juncture where they're talking transition for the political platforms to come together?
I'm one of those who look at the political parties in Cameroon from another perspective. People argue that there is a possibility, but it's not just about being optimistic for me, it's about being real. I like people who talk with action, not the kind of hopes that we usually live in, some kind of illusion. In Cameroon, the political parties are not worth the sword to stand the ruling regime. I say this with clear facts that over the years, the ones that have been able even to go closer to power have been compromised. They have been compromised, except for the SDF, that we know that even though it has not been able to have that power, at least it has been able to stand its position. But when I say compromise, I'm talking about those kind of parties that are created, especially those ones that are created under the regime. There are parties that are created under the CPDM regime, like the party of Issa Choroma Bakari. We have many of those kind of parties that exist. But we still have some few that are credible, but do not stand. They don't have the weight. Political parties in Cameroon do not have the weight to stand CPDM alone. And this is thanks to the fact that most of the leaders and the leadership of these parties, they have not realized very early that in such a situation, what you do is to keep aside pride. You keep aside pride, you come closer to your partner. People stay at their position to say that I have been the ruling or the main opposition party for this while, so this person cannot come and meet me. Then the small one that is coming up, instead of humbling yourself to meet the bigger party, you stay back and start bargaining on what position you have in the transitional government. This has created a lot of greed among political parties, the few ones that are worth the salt. When I say the few ones, I'm talking about parties that have been able to lose or gain more supporters, like the CPP of Kawala, the MRC of Maurice Kamto of late, which we see, they have, even the last election taught us another lesson, that the ruling party, the CPTM, has strategies to just delete all other parties in this country. Because if these other parties were wise, the calendar which the CPTM regime set a calendar in a way that before you even realize the campaign era, to start fumbling yourself whether you get into a coalition or not, they are overtaking you. So they don't give room, they don't give a stressful political calendar for elections so that the opposition party can even reason and come together. At the end of the day, they start going on the mad rush without any concrete, with greed, and they can. So at the end of I feel that political parties in Cameroon, even the civil society, is yet to wake up from that slumber. They don't have the strength to cope up the regime we have so far.
Okay, Salomon Bias, in one of the resolutions taken, they call for national inclusive dialogue to seek solutions. That is, after the transition is taking place, they want to come engage in a national dialogue process. Is it possible? Qu'est-ce qui freine l'unisson de toutes les forces politiques et sociétés civiles? Parce que après ce qui s'est passé à Munich, ils se disent que après il faudra un grand forum de dialogue national. Mais tel que les choses se présentent, c'est tout le monde qui veut être chef, c'est tout le monde qui veut tirer des trucs de ce côté.
Vous savez, nous sommes dans un pays où l'éducation a été mal faite.
Okay.
Il faut qu'on le dise pour comprendre. Parce que, Léo, je vais vous prendre une petite anecdote et puis je vais chuter. Est-ce que vous savez que si vous êtes 4 au Cameroun, et vous êtes 4 pour décharger un camion de bois, il y a un qui est plus fort, l'autre qui est moyennement fort et 2 qui sont très faibles. On vous donne 100 000 francs pour décharger ce camion de bois. Le plus fort va sans doute faire plus que les autres. Mais au moment de partager l'argent, c'est le plus faible qui dira au plus fort de partager ça en 4. Donc chacun aura 25 000. Quand je finis de vous expliquer ça, c'est le degré d'immoralité avec lequel les Camerounais sont plongés. Les gens connaissent la vérité, mais les gens, par le désir et le souci du fait qu'eux, ils ne peuvent pas s'affirmer, ils empêchent donc les autres de s'affirmer. Si vous regardez bien, je vais décrire le scénario que vous expliquez, la possibilité d'un dialogue national inclusif, tel que dit à Munich, avait pour corollaire à la base le départ d'abord de ce régime. Qu'on mette sur place une plateforme de transition qui va mettre sur pied, n'est-ce pas, cette façon de gérer. Mais seulement les Camerounais aujourd'hui, connaissant bien la vérité de ce qu'il y a aujourd'hui, des forces qui sont en compétition, et il y a l'une des forces qui adhère plus, qui est plus outillée à faire face à ce système. Mais les gens, pour des intérêts égoïstes, parce qu'ils sont dans la recherche des intérêts personnels, refusent d'adhérer, moi particulièrement qui suis sur ce plateau. Est-ce que vous savez que chez moi, je suis combattu au quotidien? Quand on me dit que tu es allé militer au MRC, pourquoi? Tu es côtier, pourquoi tu n'es pas allé dans tel parti? Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire avec les Bamileke? Et c'est pour ça que je voudrais chuter pour vous dire. On ne serait pas arrivé à ce niveau si pendant les élections, parce que nous savons bien ce qui s'est passé pendant les élections. Mais ce que les uns et les autres n'ont pas fait, c'est d'accepter qu'il y a une nouvelle force qui est entrée dans la compétition et qui est capable de porter, n'est-ce pas, l'ensemble des revendications des autres, comme c'était en 90 avec Nidjon Fundi et le SDF. C'était un ensemble de forces pour le changement qui avait adhéré à l'initiative du SDF et porté Nidjon Fundi à la tête. Ce n'était pas l'initiative d'un seul parti. Mais aujourd'hui, au Cameroun, il est sans ignorer, tout le monde le sait, que c'est le MRC qui est le porte-flambeau de la résistance camerounaise. Et c'est autour, écoutez bien, c'est parce qu'effectivement, les gens refusent d'accepter cette possibilité, qui est vraie, que l'initiative par moment d'un regroupement...
Que je vous relance.
Oui, c'est là où je suis...
Est-ce que je peux vous relancer?
Relancez-moi.
Oui, quand vous dites que les gens refusent, nous avions vu la dynamique d'Albin Zonga adhérer. Nous avions vu le parti de
Paul Eringue
adhérer. Nous avions vu des gens comme le conseiller du chef d'État, Penda Ikuka. Nous avions vu des gars comme Valsiro, qui est un opinion leader, adhérer. Nous avions vu beaucoup de gens, mais nous avons même vu Maître Akeremouna soutenir le MRC, au moins. pendant les élections, s'il y avait quelqu'un qui a eu le soutien des autres formations,
Paul a soutenu le MRC.
Parce que nous avions vu Cabral Libi est parti solo, nous avions vu Joshua aussi est parti solo, nous avions vu les autres partis solo, mais au moins le MRC a bénéficié de beaucoup de soutien.
Ce qui me cœur dans cette histoire, c'est que tous les autres partis qui allaient solo savaient bien qu'ils ne pouvaient pas faire face. Écoutez bien, ça fait bizarre de le dire, mais c'est la vérité. Quand vous suivez les débats avant les élections, tout le monde disait que le MRC serait dernier. Mais c'était de façade, parce que les gens savaient que le seul parti politique qui est sur le terrain et qui pèse sur la balance, c'était le MRC. Mais seulement, le seul péché qu'on reprochait au MRC, c'était qu'il avait à sa tête un homme qui portait les stigmates d'une région qu'on n'aime pas.
Est-ce que vous répondez à ma question?
Je suis en train d'aller pour répondre à cette question.
Non, vous avez pris...
Je suis revenu pour dire donc que ceux-là qui ont eu les 1%, sachant bien au départ qu'ils devaient l'avoir, ce n'était pas un secret que le SDF devait avoir ce résultat à l'élection. Ils le savaient. Ce n'était pas un secret que les autres candidats présents à cette élection devaient avoir ce résultat. Si le seul candidat qui était probant de faire face, et que s'il avait...
Je vous relance pour la dernière fois. Oui. Je vous relance pour la dernière... Si le SDF soutenait le MRC devait gagner les élections.
Mais en réalité, le MRC n'a pas perdu les élections.
Ok, vous avez dit... Il y a very difficult one there.
Yeah.
Now, amongst other things, the resolutions that were taken at Munich says the call for back to school, effective back to school, complete ceasefire on both camps, blame government for not reacting quickly enough to arrest the situation.
Yeah, exactly. That is very clear because on the side of the government, they keep on telling lies to the Cameroonian people. Like Justice Aya Abine said the other time, we cannot go sensitizing parents or telling parents the importance of children going back to school, because every parent and every child knows the importance of education. That one is very natural and normal. But under what condition? Because in as much as education is important, life is more important.
Are you saying that children should not go back to school?
Not that children should not go back to school. Under what condition will children go back to school? There is still insecurity in those regions.
Okay.
Those schools are locked down.
I'm sure,
there is no guarantee.
I'm sure Mbaku will not buy that.
there is no guarantee. I'm not of the opinion that children should not go back to school. School is very important. Children need to go back to school. But now, under what condition? That is the question. Because I personally, I think that
should be constructed.
I think that if I propose an idea, I think that if the Amber politicians, the pro-separatist fighters, and the government put in place certain measures to make maybe education or schools to become a sanctuary or an untouchable area wherein schools will not be tools for political propaganda. Maybe schools could go on.
You started by blaming just the government, but now in your developments you say responsibilities should be shouldered by both the government and pro-independence.
It's because you did not allow me to learn. You did not allow me to learn. That's it. I was giving my analysis. Okay. So I said the responsibility is not on a particular side, because even on the side of the separatists, they are using schools as tools for their political propaganda. Because Ghost Town includes schools. It doesn't exclude schools. So if they understand the necessity of the children still managing the current curriculum, meanwhile the progressive forces like us is struggling to look for concrete and tangible solution to the problem, long-lasting solution to the problem, while children are still going to school, then it will be a good initiative if they understand that. But how are they going to understand that? That's the question. Because it is very easy to make these debates, but taking actions to ensure that they are being put in place is the question.
Okay, it's the question. Mbaku, you have a response to what he just developed.
Yes, he is. I don't know. This question has come up times and again, and I keep saying that the security question, security in the entire Anglophone Cameroon, is not only on the school sector. We have security challenges in every other sector of life. And one of the things I know with the school scenario is that, you know, when school boycott was announced, it wasn't, in fact, when the consortium held their last meeting in Bamenda, at the hotel, the certain hotel there, I was there, these guys announced the school boycott. Now, we had leaders of driver trade unions, they were there. We have leaders of traders trade unions, they were there. We have leaders of teachers trade unions, they are back in court. The problem is, why do people pay too much attention to schools? The reason is simple. Schools now, when people abandoned, you know, since school affected many people, the separatist fighters thought that it was good now to use it as a card. Tasang and the others did not use schools as a revolutionary tool. I keep insisting on this. They were using, they wanted some amendments that could favor Anglophones in the educational sector. They were not using school boycott to say that, okay, we are going to get independent through school boycott. This is a fallacy people are making. And holding, okay, if we realize that now, at this level of the crisis, government is not yielding. Security is still a challenge. Can we move on with, can we trade ideologies? Can we come out with ideas as an Anglophone community that can enable us move from here? Or do we sit back in the same cocoon and keep trying that government is not doing something? That government will not do something. And the government, what the government is doing is campaigning. You can also not stop the government from campaigning that schools should resume. This is what people fail to understand. In as much as we'll be angry with government's action, it is the responsibility of government of every given country that Cameroon is still now. Cameroon is not, we don't have a legalized Ambazonia. Cameroon is still Cameroon as at this moment. So what do we do? Cameroon government has a right to ensure that every child is educated. So they are putting in their own strategy. You can also not stop them. They are only following international norms. When you say the separatists and the government should put effort, we are not telling them whether they like it or not. That's why there are movements like our own to say that you have to respect international laws and conventions. Schools must, school areas are protected areas under international laws, just like hospitals. Political prisoners are protected species under international laws. These are things we know, and we are reminding all the parties that these are your responsibilities. You are not supposed to sit and say that there's insecurity. We have insecurity in Somalia. We have in Sudan. We have in South Sudan. We have in Yemen. We have in Syria. And all these places, we are told that schools still go on. Even we are looking at that if schools even resume, there is a possibility for a ceasefire. We can begin to advance our case even to say that schools are on, with pressure on both parties more to cease your fire even along the streets.
They say so much insecurity, it will be very difficult for students, pupils to study.
Yes, that is true. Excuse me. Please, Mr. Bean, permit me to just go back and talk about, answer one concern that Mr. Solomon Bias raised before going to the issue of insecurity. Just permit me, that will be less than 60 seconds. Okay. Yes. You see, we should take note that the government in its own part creates counter strategies. When people are meeting, the government is also working to make sure that these meetings, they fail. And I want to tell Mr. Bias that even if all the political parties, the opposition, this is to your credit, please, I'm not opposing, this is to your credit, the credit of CRM. If all the opposition parties in Cameroon came and supported CRM, and you brought all the other opposition parties in Africa to come and support, to come and coalesce or to form a coalition with CRM, this is my opinion, and I think it is very true that the CPDM would still have won, because it was not the vote count that won. It was a machinery that was put in place to ensure that CPDM wins the election. So even if all of the opposition of Africa was brought to Cameroon to coalesce or to form a coalition with CRM, the CPDM would still have won the elections. As usual, you know, everybody knows that. Yeah. So, and this is now in accordance with what you are saying. It is important to recognize the value of political parties. There are popular political parties and there are less popular political parties. Value should be given to the ones that are popular at that moment because they can carry the flag more than any other political party. If Mr. Zumomia understands what I'm saying, and if Mr. Lena understands what I'm saying, I think that if they stand up for Cameroon were to go in that perspective, then they will garner more support. Because there are political parties who think that if they go there, you know, their value will be reduced. And it is a logical concern because you cannot have popularity and you go in a forum and your value is reduced. You know, you come down to nothing. It is logical. Very, very logical. Right. Yes.
You are all right.
Yes.
Give me only 1 minute. Effectivement.
Please, let me answer.
Je prends 10 secondes dans ce qu'il dit. 10 secondes seulement. Effectivement, vous voyez donc la logique selon laquelle certaines personnes disaient avant l'élection qu'il faut que tous les partis d'opposition coalisent pour gagner le RDPC, c'était une logique nulle et nous l'avons combattu. Parce que même si on coalisait, le résultat n'était pas celui sorti des urnes, mais fabriqué. D'où la nécessité de ce que les gens puissent de façon claire, légitime, faire la résistance au cas où les voix sont volées. Parce que nous savions que ça allait arriver. Quelle est donc la personne qui allait porter l'étendard? Je pense que vous avez répondu à cette question.
Okay, now to talk about security, you know, I have always said this thing. I think it is absolutely wrong and frightful when people capitalize on security of schools. It is because all other sectors are moving very well in a security-challenged northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Children go and do learn trades. You know, stores open and people go and buy there every day. And nobody is worried about security because those are needs that are on the same pedestal as education. And nobody is talking about that. I think it is extremely frightful. We should start to revisit the way we think. There can be a struggle. I am of the fact that there is an Anglophone problem. That has to be treated as, you know, a single problem in Cameroon. But we should not victimize the rights of children who have to go to school. I have said it and I'm saying it clearly. Those who are separatist fighters that we call AMBA, if they have children, those children have the right and the duty to education. Because if we don't educate those children, even those people who know how to shoot a gun, they will not be able to handle their own children. It is in their interest and in the interest of all Cameroonians for us to send our children to school.
I just have a little remark to make about what he just said. Just a minute. Please, my dear co-panelists, I don't know if you really understand the situation on the ground up there when it comes to security, because when you say security should not be like the capital point of the issue of school resumption.
You have not gotten, you are the one who has not gotten
because
me. It should be.
Because I think that the main issue here is about life and education. Between these two things, which one is more important? Is it the life? Is it the life of the children or no? Please, this from Muyuka subdivision in the southwest region. Students who went and registered GCE in Douala, wrote the GCE there and came back. They were kidnapped. And then when they were kidnapped, the parents had to go dance naked in the camps of those people who kidnapped the children for them to be given back to the children. In the other areas, like the Kumbo, like the Manfe,
who are you accusing for the insecurity?
The insecurity is coming from the mutual distrust, fear and suspicion between the Amba fighters and the military. But since the Amba fighters have been using the school as a tool to maintain their activities, they now see that given that they allow children to go back to school, they are going to lose hold of that domain. And then now, it is good for us to say it. It is good for us to say it. But what guarantee do you give to parents? Because I, as a parent, will not.
Are you saying that the issue is not the military, but Amba does not want children to go to school? Is that what you are saying?
To a greater extent,
Okay.
it is the AMBA. To
Please,
another
let me
extent,
conclude in
it
10
is
seconds.
the military.
I'm joining my voice to, this was going to be my conclusion.
So-
I'm joining my voice to that of Mr. Mbaku wherever I go, right? That we should give the children a chance because it is in the interest of Cameroon, Anglophone Cameroon especially. If we keep our children in the house, there will come a time when we will not be able to manage those children.
Okay.
And it will not give us an opportunity to have a say, an equal say in the management of the affairs of this country, which is ours.
Okay, greetings to the panel. It bothers me to see people talking on TV every day concerning Anglophone problems. With the crisis in the regions, many of those people talking can come to these places to see. Some are talking because they want that they should say the talking should come and stay, not pass once. But some of they are talking. Okay, Kumba, Dennis. Dennis, some of us were in Kumba recently. We go to Romenda and we get to some of these places. I vote for Ebako Ebel, Mayor of Kumba 1. Promise from Douala. Good evening. Good evening to you. Promise. Good evening, Mr. Kuman, to all in the studio. I pray that this dialogue come as fast as possible after the burial of my elder brother yesterday that was arrested last Monday and shot dead by the bush site in Malende. Okay. Our condolences to you, my brother in Malende. Good evening. I think it's wise thing for the Germans to make their voice heard into what is happening in our nation because they have better knowledge of the entire territory. I'm Remy, writing from Boya. Don't call, please. We cannot take a call. Just send a text and we read them out. This one says, my best mayor is Barrister Mosima of Konye subdivision. Okay. Thousands of slogans have been made and nothing is done. At this point in time, we need action and God's intervention. Oh, what a pity. Pechangwe George is writing from Yaoundé. Salomon Bias, les téléspectateurs disent qu'il n'y a que des paroles et des paroles et des paroles, pas d'action.
Oui, effectivement. Il n'y a que des paroles et des paroles et paroles, pas d'action. Mais nous n'allons pas ignorer la chronologie des événements depuis janvier. C'est pour ça que j'insiste que dans tout combat,
oui,
dans toute initiative, il y a un porte-flambeau. Nous n'allons pas ignorer que dans le sens de la revendication, depuis un certain temps, il y a un parti politique qui est sur le terrain et qui mène des revendications purement républicaines.
Est-ce que quand vous dites qu'il y a un parti, est-ce que le PAP, CCPP,
s'il vous plaît,
tous sont dans le terrain, non?
S'il vous plaît,
oui,
c'est vous qui m'avez posé la question.
Oui, oui.
Que les téléspectateurs disent que trop de paroles et pas d'action.
Okay.
Et le constat qui est clair et qui est visible par tout le monde, c'est que les seuls militants d'un parti politique qui se retrouvent aujourd'hui dans les geôles, dans les geôles, écoutez, dans les geôles, ceux qui sont enfermés, en dehors de ceux émanant des revendications anglophones, n'appartiennent qu'aux seuls militants d'un seul parti politique. Et ce parti politique s'appelle « Je suis en train de venir ». Vous aurez votre tour. Vous allez vous exprimer. Ne courez pas. Ce sont des faits. C'est un constat. Les seules personnes qu'on a enfermées et qui sont des hommes politiques, ce sont les militants du mouvement pour la renaissance du Cameroun. Et ils ont été enfermés. Pourquoi? À cause de manifestations pacifiques où il y a eu des précisions sur des agendas, des revendications telles les détournements massifs des fonds publics, les détournements sur l'organisation de la CAN, n'est-ce pas, les problèmes sur la démocratie, le respect des droits humains et autres revendications qui a eu lieu. Et jusqu'à présent, le constat qui est imminent, c'est que le seul parti politique qui subit et qui est enfermé dans les geôles, ce sont les militants du mouvement pour la renaissance du Cameroun. Alors, Si j'ai fini de planter ce décor, et qui est un décor réel, il y a lieu donc de constater qu'effectivement, est-ce que les revendications républicaines au Cameroun n'interpellent qu'un seul parti politique au point où c'est le seul qui soit sur le terrain pour mener des actes? Et je pense donc que la réponse à cette question rejoint directement ce téléspectateur qui pose la question effectivement qu'il y ait urgence d'une mutualisation de forces pour qu'un ensemble de partis politiques aille sur le terrain de la revendication, parce que c'est la chose qui est la mieux porteuse aujourd'hui.
Please, I just wanted to make some points from reaction from what my colleague just said. Please, I am of the Popular Action Party, and when he keeps using the word the only political party.
Non, tu ne m'as pas compris. J'ai dit le seul parti politique dont les militants sont en prison, à cause des revendications. S'il y en a d'autres, tu le dis.
C'est ça que je veux préciser, que ce n'est pas le seul. Parce que le PAP, depuis 2016, on subit la même chose.
Il y a combien de militants du PAP en prison?
Au courant de ce
il y a combien de militants du PAP en prison?
Parce que au début,
c'est la question que j'ai posée.
Je suis en train de venir. Au début de la crise anglophone, le président national...
Are you talking to the telespectators or you're talking
I'm talking to our fellow viewers and responding to my co-panelist. I'm trying to say that from the beginning of the Anglophone crisis, the Popular Action Party is one of the parties that had faced serious persecutions from the present regime. And before the elections, the national president, Justice Aya Paul, was locked up for 8 months because he denounced the bad actions of the government. And not only the national president, we also have
of political parties, because
that's just what I wanted to let him understand.
We were to invite I just wanted
to let him understand.
Each person will say they are the ones working.
I wanted to understand that.
I'm sure
Justice Aya was
Kabrali will tell us that
the national president
around moving from one
the secretary general had to leave Yaoundé because of that. And when Justice Aya resigned, the newly elected national president, Honorable Jan Dennis, together with the new bureau, came up and supported one of our resolutions in Yaoundé that was published in the media, and some newspaper carried it, supported the MRC March of 26 January, supported MRC unconditionally. We even invited representative of the MRC party. And I think the National Communication Secretary, Mr. Medal,
you did not accompany the MRC to march.
And
did you go to march with them?
The MRC had never come to us, but we are going to them all the time. We have given invitations to the MRC party on several occasions. So that's why I'm trying to say that it is not the only party. We are in solidarity with activities of MRC, and we think that now we need to put heads together.
Let us be objective here. You are of the MRC, and you say you guys are on the field. It is true, visible. He is from the PAP. He says they are on the field working for Cameroonians. You are a journalist who is observing. Are we saying that some parties are not working?
See, the honest truth, the honest truth is that the Cameroon political system is first of all mixed up, and that's why I started by pointing out to you that we have some very few parties that are credible, because we can at least see their work on the field. We've seen so far what SDF has done. I'm not a militant of SDF, but over the years we've seen the consistency. We have seen the tenacity under which such political parties are functioning. We've seen the persecutions that have come to such a political party, and they're able to withstand, and they are still struggling to keep the momentum. We have now, well, the MRC saga that was just born end of last year is still new to us, and we are seeing how it is happening. Solomon is talking about political prisoners of MRC who are in jail. It's true, and that's why I still think that if a country, a political continuum like which Cameroon has, can begin to act that kind of way, imprisoning people who just exercise a simple right, then I think that there's no need for us having such political parties in Cameroon. They are inconsequential at this point in time. Political parties in Cameroon do not have what it takes now to unseat the present regime. So when you hear people like the Popular Action Party, the National Salvation Front, the Gabriel Libya, these are distractions. they cannot influence the political setup at this point in Cameroon. That is what I observe and I'm saying.
Okay.
Leo,
please, let the televiewers also speak. Or ask those who said that children should go back to school whether their own children live in these areas.
They do.
Let them bring their children to school in this area, Moyuka, and see the reaction. Please, going back to school cannot stop this problem. Let there be solution, then our children will go back to school. This is Atagwe Bala writing from Moyuka. Good evening to all of you guys watching us from Moyuka subdivision. Hello, good evening, Leonard and all the panel. I really appreciate this particular program, Prime Hour. It gets me glued to my screen, and I've always also been able to invite many to watch each time it is broadcasted. Everything Nelson Mandela did for South Africa was not done by him alone. He worked alongside many others who also embraced the truth and strive for a better and even best South Africa. We should all embrace the truth, forget about political parties which have so much destroyed the aspirations of Cameroon, and work towards a better Cameroon for ourselves, our children and the unborn generation. Only then will the political transition we yearn for be feasible and possible. I am Achere Ita, and I go from Mbelamoki Charles as best mayor. Thanks. From St. Pete. Thank you very much. I'm sure we should discuss on this your proposal. Hello, jingoistic panelists. Those who are saying that we should sensitize our parents to send children back to school are very myopic, because going to school is not a new agricultural process that our parents should be sensitized on. Talking of effective school resumption without prioritizing peace and justice is a waste of time. The maker is writing from Boya. The maker, I'm not sure anybody says they should not seek peace. Hello, House. I love your program. Due to the country situation, resuming school is not a bad idea, but under which conditions there is a lot of risk bearing, especially in the northwest and southwest regions. Thanks. Bibi is writing from Kumba. My best mayor is Donatus Ndong of Kumbo Urban Council. Laye is writing from Boya. Now, this one says, greetings to the panelists. I think we Cameroonians are fooling ourselves day in and out as far as this back to school stuff is concerned. Those people standing for back to school, can they or will they send their children to school in the war zone? This is Franklin writing from Kumba. Thank you. This one says, international bodies like USA and Britain should consider the crisis the same way they consider the outbreak of Ebola in Africa countries and intervene speedily, because both having the same consequences, which is death. Thank you very much, Wala. I want you to react to this one, where Achere, who is writing from St. Pete in Boya, says it is time to try to oversee the activities of political parties and take the responsibilities. That is, Cameroonians should consciously, as civil society activists, take their responsibilities into their hands. Do you think the political class has failed Cameroon?
No, the political class has not failed Cameroon.
Okay.
Now, to say that the political class has failed Cameroon is an overstatement. I want to remind our viewers that democracy was not brought in Cameroon by Paul Biya, the president of the republic. He was talking about democracy, and one day he went to sleep, and in the morning they told him that democracy is already in Cameroon. A party has been launched called SDF. And he said, how did that happen? And they explained to him how it happened. So there are many other things. So I don't think, the political parties have failed. There are political parties also in Cameroon, we don't want to call names here, that have been created by the regime in power, to create some kind of a distraction on the political scene. There are so many of them out there. Now, not only are there political parties that have been created, there are political parties that the party in power has not created, but that it has succeeded to infiltrate and to confuse the platform, so that those political parties that had, holy intentions from the beginning, have turned. But there are political parties as of now which have stood their ground. They want change, and they want genuine change. those political parties, you know, a political fight is not something that happens abruptly. It is a procedure. It is a political procedure. And when you are, you know, in front of a regime like the one that, you know, dictatorial and repressive, it is not a fight of one day. That is what we need to remind even the political parties that are here, that it's a fight that has to continue. If you give up, then you have failed to the people. Okay. Because the people look up to you, you know, for guidance. They look up to you for that, you know, the realization of that vision, which is change for the benefit of all
Change
Cameroonians.
for the benefit of all Cameroon. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I'm writing from Womb. I enjoy the program. People should... Oh, you okay.
No.
Good evening, Mr. Kuma. I'm writing from Womb. I enjoy the program. People should not just talk because they are service in the evil government of Cameroon. No schools under this problem in the northwest and southwest region. You are writing from Womb. I don't know whether you're writing from Naikom or you're writing from Zongongang or from Wanangwen. Tell us, please, when you write, tell us your name, please, and where you're writing from, like others have been doing. This one reads, good evening to all panelists, sir. My best mayor is Ikema Patrick. This is Jude, writing from Bamenda. Good evening. Let's think of the security of our children before talking about school resumption. D4 Eric, also writing from Bamenda. Leo, we have a government that doesn't value life. Security is the only prerequisite for school resumption. Best mayor is Ibako Ebel. In Kumba 1, Ngala is writing from Douala. It's Limbe, not southwest, but schools are going on there. Anyway, the schools are not going is because the people there have not made up their minds, because even Ghost Town there is not strong in Limbe or Tombel as in Kumba. I can name you many places I have been in Ghost Town days. So it's earlier to stop this business. This is Dennis writing from Kumba. This one says, good evening to you all. Keep children at home is a very helpful idea. The Amber Boys should allow the children to go back to school because it's the children's right to be educated. Cliffodo is also writing from K-Town. Jimmy from Kumba says, please, the solution to all we seek is in the hands of our president, Mr. Paul Biya. Let him stop the war he declared against the southern Cameroonians. School, not a new agricultural process, I'm sure. Demeka, I got your message already. Good evening, Isidore, writing from Boya. This is the best thing that can happen to Cameroon. Okay. My best mayor is the mayor of Tiko Municipality, Mr. Mokondo Daniel Ngande. It is His Royal Highness. Oui, Salomon Bias, nous allons rentrer au journal, prendre les échos des journaux, et puis on va continuer après.
Très important.
In the press, please.
Greetings everyone, and thanks for joining us once again on the Press on Prime Hour. On what is making news today in Cameroon, we begin with L'Ouest Echo, which says the traditional ruler of Bangola village in the west region of Cameroon has been humiliated in France by members of Brigade Anti-Sardinat. The paper also says Fosso Victor has donated over 1 billion francs CFA for the construction of the Bafoussam Cathedral. As the new academic year 2019-2020 draws near, Le Soir newspaper publishes the list of schools banned by government from operating. We remain on education. Mutation dedicates its front page to the Minister of Secondary Education as she embarked on several reforms in her ministerial department. Case of the digitalization of all financial transactions relating to payment of school fees and registration fees for official examinations. While the Guardian Post focuses on school boycott campaign in the northwest and the southwest region, the paper writes that diaspora Ambazonia leaders challenged to withdraw on kids from foreign schools. According to the paper, many are questioning why those championing no school campaign in the Anglophone regions of the country have not yet pulled out their own children in schools in foreign countries in solidarity with those on ground zero. The media this day took interest on the 2019 GCE results. The paper headlines: Disturbing Statistics, 2019 GCE results that hide the bitter reality. According to the media, behind the seemingly good 2019 GCE results resides the bitter reality of the lowest candidate registration and participation ever in the history of the exams. That centers in the littoral, center and west regions have more successful candidates than centers in the northwest and southwest is instructive as it is telling. The media, Le Soir, Panel Hebdo all reports that Pati Ekema Esonge has been conferred the title of Nyamuto Poatolo du Sud by chiefs of the south region of Cameroon. We end with Eco Santé, which reports that of the 2,400 public medical facilities in Cameroon, over 1,300 are begging for rehabilitation. That does it for In the Press on Prime Hour.
Well, thank you, Lasha Kingsley, for that wonderful review. Enough with the Munich forum. We need to discuss our second topic very briefly. We are out of time. That has to do with the Global Corruption Barometer that ranks Cameroon fourth most corrupt country in Africa, indexing mostly the police and the judiciary as topping this position as the most corrupt sectors in the country. Comment comprendre, vous faites partie, vous êtes juriste, comment comprendre que c'est votre corps qui est le plus indexé comme le plus corrompu? Si c'est très corrompu, ceux qui ont des problèmes partent où alors?
Effectivement, vous venez de le préciser en démontrant à suffisance que selon le classement de Transparency, le récent classe au Cameroun premier et dont le secteur le plus touché, comme vous venez de le dire, est le secteur judiciaire.
Oui. Comment comprendre cela?
C'est compréhensible. Quand vous dites le secteur judiciaire, je voudrais que vous apportiez une précision. Les avocats qui sont des auxiliaires de justice...
Vous n'êtes pas corrompu?
Écoutez, okay. Il faut qu'on se comprenne bien. Les avocats qui sont des auxiliaires de justice, c'est une profession libérale qui est différente des auxiliaires de justice et des magistrats qui sont des représentations, n'est-ce pas, de ce que je pourrais appeler les démembrements nets de l'État en matière de justice. Parce que commençant de la quête préliminaire jusqu'aux instances juridictionnelles, ça c'est l'État. Maintenant, l'avocat apparaît comme un auxiliaire de justice parce qu'il apporte sa contribution à ce qu'il y ait une régularité dans les procédures, parce qu'il défend ses clients et dont ces clients-là sont soumis à être jugés devant les instances juridictionnelles. Mais l'avocat n'est pas impliqué, n'est-ce pas, dans le déroulement, n'est-ce pas, et la maîtrise du secret de l'instruction qui appartient, n'est-ce pas, à l'autorité judiciaire qui est le magistrat. Ok, si je voudrais donc aller à la base...
Tu voulais d'abord vous dédouaner.
Pas nous dédouaner, repréciser les faits, parce que c'est de cela qu'il s'agit. Commencer à la base de l'enquête préliminaire au niveau de l'auxiliaire de justice qui est l'OPJ. Au niveau de l'enquête préliminaire, soit à la gendarmerie, soit au commissariat. Nous savons bien aujourd'hui, et tout le monde le vit, qu'il y a un non-respect des applications du code de procédure pénale. Comment expliquer que quelqu'un est convoqué, n'est-ce pas, au niveau soit d'un commissariat, soit d'une gendarmerie? Quand il arrive, on ne lui lit pas ses droits. Et la première chose qu'on fait, dans la plupart des temps, c'est de lui montrer l'entrée de la cellule, c'est-à-dire la procédure de garde à vue. Dans la plupart des temps, ce sont des constats faits. C'est qu'il il y a des transactions qui sont faites, et quand vous demandez aux gens, ils vous disent dans la plupart des temps, j'ai payé tant pour qu'on me libère. Alors, est-ce que les enquêtes préliminaires seraient-ils devenues les niches, n'est-ce pas, de faire dépenser aux citoyens de l'argent alors que la justice, c'est un service public qui est rendu de façon gratuite et qui nécessite le paiement de certains frais, juste au niveau peut-être de la consignation des dossiers et même de l'enrôlement au niveau des instances de greffe et d'autres types d'instances qui sont bien définies par la loi. Ce sont des constats faits aujourd'hui qu'en réalité, quelqu'un peut rester au quartier et vous dire que je vous envoie en prison. Nous avons des cas que nous vivons au quotidien et où des gens vous expliquent à bras de corps qu'ils dépensent des sommes d'argent. Ce sont des faits que nous vivons au quotidien, au vu des témoignages que nous avons. Et je pense que cela est lié au fait d'un manque d'indépendance de la justice. Parce que dans un pays démocratique, nous avons ce qu'on appelle la théorie des séparations des pouvoirs, qui fait que on a l'exécutif au sommet, le législatif et le judiciaire qui sont comme des contrepoids à l'action du gouvernement. Puis dans ce sens, le magistrat qui a, n'est-ce pas, l'autorité de rendre justice est totalement détaché d'une certaine inféodation n'est-ce pas, du pouvoir de l'État et qui peut prendre des décisions sans avoir une quelconque pression. Mais quand nous sommes donc dans un environnement comme le nôtre où le magistrat n'est pas libre, où le magistrat, à quelque niveau que ce soit, peut subir des pressions venant soit du politique ou bien, n'est-ce pas, de l'administration publique, il va de soi qu'à un certain moment donné, cette justice soit commercialisée. C'est pour ça que le combat que nous menons au quotidien, c'est de rendre effectivement cette justice libre et que cette justice soit effectivement une émanation du peuple où les décisions sorties des tribunaux sont bel et bien rendues au nom du peuple pour acquérir ce qu'on appelle l'autorité de la chose jugée.
Okay. Hello, good evening to you guys. Cameroon government is in the state of confusion because going back to school will not solve this problem. Judith is our fervent viewer from Kumba. Good evening to you, Judith. Good evening to you all in the panel, most especially to my brother Mbaku. Jude, I think that people should not be told the importance of school because no one told them before to send their children to school. If a parent see that it is conducive for a child to go to school, he or she will send them. We are not interested with education that train job seekers and Okada riders with master's degree. We also engine train in the education. We are crying for death in the forests of Mexico on its way to America. Is that the education we are clamoring for? We need to change. Chair Clovis is writing from Bomenda, Hilltop City. Hello, this is Putin writing from Munyenge. Muyuka, I think talk without action will not lead to any success. Special greetings to you, Putin. We hope you are doing well out there in Munyenge. This one reads, good evening to you all. Those who propose that school should resume in September are aware that some of the schools are occupied by both separatists as they come. We better cease fire first. Okay, you think that there should be ceasefire before schools? Eric is writing from the Green City, Kumba. The best mayor is Donatus Ndong of Kumbu. This one says, good evening, panelists. It's the children's right to be educated, but my problem is the security of teachers and students when the two parties are still fighting. How can we expect schools to continue in a place like Kum Council area where the two extreme ends are still fighting every day? This is Prosper Yika writing. Prosper, I don't know where you're writing from. How do we explain this persistence in corruption levels in Cameroon when we understand that every day high-profile prisoners are taken to Kondengi, people are being indexed and arrested?
It is, first of all, from non-respect of the constitution of the country. when a country's authorities and the highest representative of the country, which is the president, do not respect the very constitution, which is the ground norm of the country, the tendency is for corruption to take place, because what we observe in Cameroon is, it is something, I lack how to describe the situation, because it is really terrible that you see a country where a high profile attorney general in the Supreme Court is being abducted from his house to the prison without any arrest warrant, without following normal judicial procedures.
That's the no respect of the constitution, like you're saying.
Yes, and then that's where it begins, because there is no follow-up for anything in Cameroon. Even when contracts are being given to people, to companies, there is no follow-up. So people have the ability to catch money, and in Cameroon there is this issue of dealing more with cash. Yes, our economy is more in the cash form. Even political parties partaking in elections, they give their contributions in cash, which is not correct, because when people touch this money in cash, there's high probability of embezzlement, and there is no follow-up. The African Cup of Nations that Cameroon failed to organize, I think one of the stadiums that was to be built is just few meters, not up to kilometer away from the presidency in Etuji, because Etuji Olembe is a neighboring quarter in Yaoundé. I don't understand how a stadium that is to be built in the name of the president himself, he cannot go there to verify the work and ensure. Up till today, the stadium is abandoned, half complete. The work is not completed. Okay. So you see, that is to tell you that Cameroon government have the ability to manipulate, and then it is laissez-faire that is making this corruption to be high. Okay. You see, I want to go back to this election issue when they send some representatives. I don't know if it is true or fake representatives of Transparency International. If the government authorities is capable of corrupting personnel of Transparency International, international organizations, non-governmental organizations, friendly countries come to the country.
Why don't you think that these guys impersonated?
Come to the country and they are unable to give true observations of what they see. So
good evening, George from Bamenda. I challenge Mr. Wallan to give us one achievement of political parties in Cameroon since 1992. Political parties have failed Cameroonians. Good evening to you, George, in Bakwa. Good evening to you all in the studio. We all pray for a possible solution to the Anglophone crisis that will be pleasing by all Cameroonians. My best mayor is Lord Mayor Ibaku of Kumba1. Gaston is writing from Kumba. Wallan, people say the government is corrupt, and others think that the corruption is fueled by the citizens themselves.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bean, for giving me that opportunity. I really hope that you give me just a little time to explain this thing, because I want to talk, from two perspectives. Okay. Yes, but let me answer the question of that young man who is writing from Amanda. That
Mr. George.
Mr. George. That I think that
maybe it's a father.
Cameroonians have.
He may be a father. You call him the young man.
I don't know anyway. I don't know his age. Sorry about that, Mr. George. If you are the age of my father, I'm sorry for belittling you that way. But I just want to say that it is Cameroonians that have failed political parties, because we have noticed within the years that many Cameroonians don't go to vote, but they are very angry when they hear that the CPDM has won. What justifies that? It is the Cameroonians who are failing the political parties and not the other way around. Now, to talk about the corruption in Cameroon, I would like to talk from two perspectives. A perspective that shows that the government is truly corrupt, and that there is some kind of complacency and support on the part of the powers that be. And then on another part, I'll talk about the Cameroonians themselves, because we just jump into the blame game, and when they say Cameroon is the most corrupt, we think that it's only the government, whereas we are also part of the government. Let me start now with the government. I read Mr. Biya's communal liberalism, and one of the pillars of the communal liberalism is, rigor and moralization. A lot of stress was placed on that point. It was capitalized, rigor and moralization, to straighten the public sector in Cameroon, which was not that bad after Ahidjo, after all. So we thought that it was going to be, really, really wonderful, wonderful public sector that was going to cater for the needs of the common man in Cameroon. Okay, but unfortunately, we discovered that the system, when I read it, I read it at a time when they had not even started arresting the ministers, and discovered that the system thrives on corruption. What does that mean? I'll use a single case, that of Siam Siwe. Siam Siwe was a former general manager of the Ports Authority here in Douala, where he was arrested for, after he had been, left this thing, he was arrested for embezzling funds at this thing. And he made a statement. He said, this money was used to support party activities. That the money that he was taking, there were people, barons of the regime who used to come to Port Autonome, the Douala, and ask for money. And he thought that this money was going to support party activities, okay, which really did. But at one time, he had to pay for this money with his liberty. So the system thrives on corruption. And I am very sure that corruption can hardly be eradicated because Konak has been there for long, but the corruption still persists. Many more people are getting into Kondengi. We have the case of Ataganakuna now and Alain Mebengo. That are very recent cases where money was even discovered in their houses. And we know how they have been protected, within the years. So yes, the system is a very, very corrupt system. We have the case of Gaga Haman in 1992, where he said many barons of the regime had embezzled a lot of money. And when journalists went to the head of state and asked, what is your reaction to what your minister, one of your ministers is saying? He said, "Usons les preuves." That has, created a place in the history. Now, get down to the citizens of Cameroon. This is absolutely more important than even the government, because we are the ones that are building this republic. If you ask me, are you corrupt? Walang Abang, that I am, may not answer that question very powerfully, because, going down, into my conscience, I see that we, as citizens of this country, we support corruption in one way or the other. We do things that promote corruption.
We sell land to
we
buy
sell land,
entrance into Enam and
yes,
yeah.
We buy entrance into public, schools where we graduate and still perpetuate this corruption. So Cameroonians should make some kind of a conscience call and determine whether it is only the government.
Okay, this last question to you, Baku, Jude. Now, how do we understand that centers of excellence, I'm talking about schools, centers where people are supposed to be given life, hospitals, at times indexed in this whole corruption brouhaha?
That's why let me just pick up on where Abang ended, to say that if you are unable as a father of a house to take care of your family, to guide your family, then you are incompetent, you are an impotent father. In fact, you are as good as dead. You understand? That is the setup under which Cameroon is. The system, the leadership of Cameroon is dead. Cameroon is almost a dead country. And what we need is total revival. The way
when you say dead, is it not symbolic? Because we know that Mr. Bian, everybody is still living.
I'm going metaphorical. Okay. To say that we have, my brother Leonard was very straight when he said the very foundation under which this country is built, the laxity and the corrupt nature.
There's no follow-up.
Yes, there's no follow-up system. All this leads to the neo-patrimonialism we have today, where people just sit in their offices, make calls here and there, and send children to schools who do not merit it. Tribalism, which is even chopping, and then the political will. This country, there's no sector in any country that can prosper without a political will. President Pierre and his government do not have any political will. You're talking about individuals changing this country. An individual cannot change. The approach of this country now must come from top. If we do not have a radical person at the top, a radical leader who can come now and implement changes, if you're expecting that people should now come, because the tendency in Cameroon is when you attempt changing from bottom, you become a target. You are smashed, and the steps to get up there, there are so many. So the system in Cameroon now, for us to achieve any change, we need to begin up there and implement a radical leader who can come down.
You did not answer my question whether there was corruption in schools and hospitals.
Those places, those places,
we are out of time.
The people who even get admission to those places, the whole system is corrupt. So how do you want me to even start explaining? But let me just plead that please you make us time so that we really explain this thing
next week,
especially the school issue.
Yes, next week we are doing a special edition on back to school.
Definitely, so that people understand the role of movement and civil society in bridging the gap.
We are coming back to that. Salomon, que je prends un peu de messages. On a 2 minutes, on nous a donné 2 minutes. Après ça, tu vas clôturer. Good evening to you all in the studio. Why is the government okay? It's not complete yet. Good evening, Mr. Kum, and you all on decks. I'm not saying Cameroon moving out of corruption because CONAC has failed. The only way out is a new government with a new president. Mr. Leo, good evening to you guys. My best mayor is Ibako Abel in Kumba 1. Innocent is writing from Bonaberry. Good evening to you all, panel on board. My name is Robert from Limbe. Mr. Kum, I love your program. The government of layer of La République. Okay, my best mayor is Njong Donatus of Kumbu. This one says, good evening, it's Stella writing from Bamenda. Talking cannot solve any problem. Okay, you want action. Hi, good evening to you all. The program is really educative, but the truth is that to stop corruption in this country, God should just kill everybody between 5 years above. This is Mardin, writing from Likumba in Tiku. Hi there, good program. This championing the No School campaign should pull out their children from schools in foreign countries, including the Francophone areas as a foreign. Okay, let them come back and stay with us. We cannot claim a system of education is bad, yet we send our children at exorbitant cost in the camp of our enemy to study in the same curriculum. Who is foolish here? This is Zhang writing. Good evening, my brothers. I'm writing from Eso. I enjoy the program. My name is Livinus Echu. We here also want school to start, but people are afraid of 3 parties, which are military, separatists, and the Mbororo here in our location. Okay, thank you very much. People are dying in the bush because most of their houses are burnt. How can schools resume when people are dying in the bushes? Waters is writing from Boya. Good evening to all. Please, the way forward is to stop the killings and come on table and fix things before thinking of school resumption, because they can not be talking of schools, a mother whose child has been killed. John is writing from Ndop, Kitunja. People are dying. Okay, I took that one already. It's Monono from Boya. Monono says that everybody in West Cameroon is not important of education. Tell the regime to stop the war. Then people will go to school. Okay. This one says, good evening. If everyone wants to know how serious the Anglophone problem is, he or she should use the route axis from Boya through Manfi up to Bamenda. My best mayor is Mayor Awo Dang Dennis of Fundong Council. Anyajwa Silvanus is writing from Kumba. There is nothing like best mayor in Cameroon. All of them are not serious, and they can be seen through our routes conditions. Ngong Enes writing from Cape Town. Good evening at the panel. Let's assume that we are going back to school. What about those brothers and sisters in Nigeria? Do they not need Cameroon educational system of learning, or how? Sanctus Cha writing from Nkong Samba. Good evening, sir. As for me, the best mayor is the mayor of Limbe. It was a... Okay. This is Nelson writing from Boya. We need to have a oneness in this country and choose a particular dialect which can represent us at home and abroad. This is Cheji Gabriel writing from Tico. Good evening, my best mayor is Ikema Patrick. Nungana Ed Enes Tangam writing from Bamenda. Greetings to you people in the studio. Please, why is it that the government don't want to solve the Anglophone problem, but we want schools to go on? Tui Ashu writing from Kumba.
Effectivement,
une minute, hein?
Oui, c'est vrai, c'est pas moi qui pose la question ici, mais je voudrais me permettre. Vous avez reçu un message porté qui serait signé du ministre d'État Laurent Esso?
Oui.
Il est vrai?
Oui.
Ok. Je voudrais juste dire à tous les téléspectateurs qui me regardent en fait que dans une république sérieuse, face à un gouvernement, il y a des contrepoids. Et le peuple, c'est un contrepoids. La revendication républicaine reste et demeure le seul moyen dans une république où un système gouvernemental ne voudrait pas respecter les principes démocratiques à pouvoir obtenir des choses. Vous voyez bien qu'il y a quelques jours où il y a eu des événements, aujourd'hui dans nos prisons, nous avons bien une administration qui bouge et qui demande à d'autres démembrements où il y a des procédures judiciaires d'accélérer parce que nous voyons aujourd'hui que la surpopulation carcérale peut être à l'origine, n'est-ce pas, d'une émeute ou bien d'une mutinerie qui n'est pas quelque chose de bien dans un pays qui se veut démocratique.
Okay, merci beaucoup. Good evening, Leo. I'm enjoying the program. When the government is not fair with its youth, two things are bound to happen. There will be high rate migration, thereby leading to underdevelopment of the said country. There will be riots, and exactly what we are facing in our country today. Idris, thank you for your message. What happened in Yaoundé and Boya is just the best thing to have happened. The ballot cannot and will never change this country. Not now, not tomorrow, and never. Those fighting against corruption are the most corrupt in the nation. Good evening, Leo. I'm enjoying the program. Idris, again, I've taken your message. Good evening to the panel. In the country like ours, where the constitution is being fine-tuned to favor those in power, what do we expect? I believe this is the peak of corruption. All the three arms of government are highly corrupt. Corruption here from top to bottom. Laye, okay, from St. Pete. Hello, Leonard and all panelists. I'm sorry I have come back again. Mr. Wallan just said some minutes ago, and I quote, Cameroonians blame the government for everything, but when there is election, they refuse to go and vote. The same Mr. Wallan said earlier on the same panel that the CPDM does everything possible to set all machinery for it to win the election, stating here indirectly that the CPDM must win elections with or without votes of the people. My question here is, why are we contradicting ourselves? Achere, thank you. Politics in Cameroon is not rotatory because Elecam is not an independent electoral body from the others. We have to end here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. I will tell Cameroonians to rally for a national message, which is political transition, work on how to make the departure of the present regime, which has caused Cameroonians a lot of pain. And
I hope you are telling them to register for elections.
Not in the context now.
Okay, Mr. Wallan, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for having me here. I just want to say that the only way to get out of corruption in Cameroon is to change the regime, as somebody, as one of our viewers there suggested. And permit me to greet one of the mayors who favors on your favorite on a very favorite position, who is my personal friend, Mr. John Kona Makia, who is the mayor of Kumba 3. He's watching us. My greetings to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Leo. Our quest every day, we sleep on it, we dream it, we hope that normalcy for once ever come back to Northwest and Southwest region. So that's our fervent prayer.
Salmon, bonsoir.
Bonsoir Léo, bonsoir très chers copanélistes. Mais le Cameroun aujourd'hui est comme une voiture dont le moteur a coulé. Il faudrait que les chauffeurs aient le courage, n'est-ce pas, de changer le moteur afin que la voiture puisse également fonctionner.
Okay. Just to announce to our televiewers that the winner of this contest is going to be made public on Friday on this same platform. Maybe we don't know whether it's the mayor of Kumbu or the mayors in Limbe or in Kumba. Most of them were voted, or the mayor of Boya. We are going to announce it on Friday during the same platform. We want to thank the technical team. Desmond, we say thank you to you also, Eli, and to you, Tini, and to you, Jerry, and to Mr. Tabi Brian, who is supervising all we are doing out here. And to you, we say stay blessed. Bye-bye.